over the weekend, Katt Williams was on the radio in Atlanta, and for seemingly no reason, he calls out Tiffany Haddish and basically says, I'm paraphrasing here, Tiffany Haddish is only on because she said she was willing to sleep with a white man. He said she was married to a white man for 14 years. I don't know who Tiffany Haddish husband was. I don't know if he was married to who she was married to. And then heavily implies that she's only on because she said she slept with a white man because she's loud and ghetto and ratchet. And then goes on to say, who among us doesn't have a cousin, an auntie, a friend who's loud, ghetto, and ratchet? Okay? But then he really gives himself up and reveals the real reason that he's upset. And that is, he says, I had women next to me who I put on who are funnier than Tiffany Haddish, and can't afford a chicken sandwich, And he mentions like Lunel and Melanie Camacho, and I think that was all he actually mentioned. And that's it reminded me of Tracy Morgan when he was being interviewed a couple months ago, and the interviewers were asking about Tiffany. And he was like, why y'all asking about her? Why y'all asking about her? You should be asking about everybody, including the crafty. So the guy's talking about the crafty. He's like, okay, so who on crafty made a big deal? And he's like, I don't know nobody specifically. And here's my problem with what Katt Williams says. First of all, it is not Tiffany Haddish's fault if Katt Williams feels like other people were passed over. Okay? Tiffany Haddish did not just start her career at Girls Trip. Okay? Katt knows that. He was in a movie with Tiffany Haddish years ago. Tiffany Haddish Wikipedia goes back 15 years. Just her Wikipedia. That don't even count, when she started stand-up. She's 38, and I think in her story, she started stand-up when she was like 15 or 16. She was in a program. As I speak, there's a Tiffany Haddish billboard on this bus right there. You see that night school thing? See, God got you, Tiffany. So here's my problem. First of all, the assumption that Tiffany Haddish just got on is just untrue. Okay? It's just untrue. When I started working at ADD, we tried to get Tiffany Haddish and could not because she was on the Carmichael show, and that meant we were no longer able to pay her what she was getting paid to be on television. Now, I see somebody just said he's not hating, he's just saying what everyone else is scared to say. What is that? Do y'all really believe? Okay, here, let me back up a second. Okay? Let me back up a second. Even if it were true that Tiffany Haddish is only on because she's loud, ghetto, ratchet, whatever. Even if that were true. How did Katt Williams get on? What's the role that broke Katt Williams into the movie game? What's the stereotype that Katt Williams has been playing? A pimp. Money Mike was how Katt Williams really broke on. Pimp cup, furs, rings. Money Mike, is that something we should be proud of? It's pimping, pimping, pimping. Is that something we should be proud of? Okay? Katt Williams' whole brand is pimp this, hold that. And I'm not even like mad. I'm just saying. Pimp Chronicles is his best special. His best special is Pimp Chronicles. And I love it. Top 5. Okay? So even if that were true, Katt, you don't have no better beginning. Next thing. She's a stereotype. She's typecast. Many people seem to forget Most stars are typecast. Okay? Black and white. Kevin Hart plays most of the time a version of the same role. It's an exaggerated version of himself. The Rock plays the big, lovable, tough guy who's got a tough exterior and a heart of gold. Vince Vaughn plays literally the same role in everything except when he did True Detective. Owen Wilson, same role. Jim Carrey, really physical comedian, zany stuff, same role. Sam Jackson, same thing. There's very few, not to mention character actors who like get on by doing a version of the same role. Doggone Jennifer Aniston. What has Jennifer Aniston done that has been different than anything she's ever done? Hollywood loves to typecast people. Okay, Jason Bateman, for the most part, is playing the same type of role, serious or dramatic. His character in Ozark is really not that much different from his character in Game Night. Game Night's just funny. Okay, so that is not unusual. Outside of like Viola Davis, Meryl Streep, Tom Hanks, Morgan Freeman, people even argue that Denzel plays the same role. So again, are we mad because she is winning at doing it? Because it is not unusual. Okay? Jennifer Lewis, whom I love, plays somebody black mama in everything. So I hate that. I hate that assumption that Tiffany Haddish is doing something that is not done by everyone in Hollywood. Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock Holmes, not that much different from Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. He's just using an accent. Okay, now I saw somebody say she's not that funny. I'll give you that. I don't personally agree, but I'll give you that. And here's why. Comedy is subjective. She's not your cup of tea. People say Kevin Hart's not funny. Tiffany Haddish is not funny. Dave Chappelle's not funny. Everybody has their cup of tea. There's billions of people in the world. Here's what the truth is. Tiffany Haddish doesn't have to be funny to everyone. She's just got to be funny to enough people to still get paid. I'm a comedian. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. That does not matter. What matters is she's getting paid. No one is universally funny. Even people like Dave Chappelle, who most people agree is one of the greatest comedians. There's people in middle America who'd much rather prefer Jeff Foxworthy, Jim Gaffigan, Larry the Cable Guy, Jeff Dunham. They like comedy that reflects their life. Okay, they'd much rather go see, I cannot think of that, the dude, Ron White, who always has the doggone whiskey on stage. They'd much rather see him. Do you think Ron White and Jeff Foxworthy care what the black community thinks of their stand-up comedy? Do you think they care if we think they're funny? Absolutely not. He don't need us to think he's funny. He needs his audience to think he's funny. Okay? So I think she's hilarious. I don't think Girls Trip is the same movie without her, and I can't think of anybody who would have been as funny as she was in there. And Katt's argument was, well, Tiffany ain't really do nothing in Girls Trip. It was sold by Queen Latifah, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Regina Hall. True. And she also was the funniest person in there. So she made the most of her opportunity. But I hate that. Why do Katt Williams and all these old bitter comedians always want to blame new people that other people got passed over? Tiffany Haddish does not control Hollywood. She does not control who gets picked in movies. Lunel had a good run. She was in Borat and some other movies. She's hilarious. And I don't call her out to, whatever. But the same role that Lunel's playing, Tiffany Haddish can't play. This is just her moment. The same way Katt Williams had his moment after, was it next Friday or Friday after next? Katt parlayed that into all his other stuff. Same thing goes for Kevin Hart. Whether you think Kevin Hart is funny or not is really irrelevant. I think he's hilarious. Okay, I be watching Cold as Balls and cracking up. Whether you think he's funny or not is irrelevant. His stand-up special, he posted this, he has 3 of the top 10 grossing stand-up specials of all time. And if you don't think he's funny, then that's more of a feat. Because someone who you don't think is funny has made 3 of the top 10 highest grossing stand-up comedy specials of all time. I know somebody that like it. He tours, $80 million. He was like the Forbes highest paid comedian of the year, I think a year or 2 ago. More than like Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld's a good point. I like Jerry Seinfeld. I know that Jerry Seinfeld is a good comedian. I recognize his comedic ability. But he is not one of my favorite comedians. I think he is funny, but his observational type of humor, I don't die laughing. I prefer to die laughing. I've chuckled a lot at Jerry Seinfeld. I've recognized that as a smart joke. That's very clever, very observant. But if I was going out to spend $150, I would not pay to see Jerry Seinfeld. Just not my cup of tea like that. I like the Seinfeld show. Love Larry David. I get it. But all we are as artists are people who find their fan base. People who like them. That's all we are. Okay? Perfect example. I'll take comedy out of it. Country music. We were doing this at work. I was trying to name as many country music artists as I could think of, and I got up to maybe 15. Okay? Which is not a lot. They don't care if I like their music or not. I don't know what country station it is in any place I've lived in the world. Never bought a country album in my life. Like some country songs, but never went out of my way. Chris Stapleton has a song called Tennessee Whiskey. Love it. Never bought the album. Will never go to a show. Okay? Do you think it matters to people in Nashville that a black dude in LA don't like their music or don't check for it? No! But why do we have to destroy Tiffany because you don't like her stand-up? I think, in going to Kevin Hart, I think what bothers people the most about Kevin Hart is he's everywhere. And good for him. I told y'all, let me get on like that. I'm going to try and do it too. I'm going to try and get on. And it's really a shame because Katt Williams was really funny in that interview. He was roasting this lady and just, he was hilarious. But why the bitterness? Why? It's the same thing that Cardi B does to people. All black people aren't like that. But you know what? Some are. Okay? All black people are not like Tiffany Haddish. But guess what? Some are. And she is funny at doing it. And if she don't do nothing but play that same role and go in there, he was mad. People be mad. She be out dancing. At parties? You realize you are mad because Tiffany Haddish is out dancing at parties. She's dancing at parties, and that every time she's at a party, she dances. That's what people do at parties. They have a good time. So what? She walks like, if I'm at a party, I'm here too. Oh. She got excited and jumped over a red velvet rope to say hi to Meryl Streep. And I, for one, love her personality, so that's why I don't get it. But I get people, well, she did. Black people, you know, one thing about us is we feel like other black people's personalities is a reflection of our own, and they represent the race the same way we do. And I'll give you a perfect example because I'm not immune to this. Adrian Broner is a boxer who I despise. He's always doing something. His latest antic, he got kicked out of an Uber for like taking the driver's phone, blasting music. He was humping a dude in the ring. He's just always saying some ignorant thing. And I get it because I feel personally embarrassed by Adrian Broner. Personally embarrassed by his antics. Because every time he does something, I'm just like, why are you doing that? So I understand the premise, but she's just out being happy. She's just out taking the roles that she gets, getting paid to be funny. And when she's out at events, she's having a good time. What? Does my happiness offend you? Does my happiness offend you? What is it about her joy that drives people insane? Does she be walking in dresses? So what? I have homegirls that remind me of that Tiffany Haddish reminds me of, but she's funnier than them. They're not professional comedians. And I want her to live and win for as long as she can. And the same I want for Katt. And Katt argued, all these comedians argued that Kevin Hart wouldn't have been on if it wasn't for Katt Williams, losing focus. And because Katt was on. He was in everything in Hollywood. And then he took a breath, and then Kevin was on him. Is that Kevin's fault? All he did is take advantage of opportunities. But what y'all won't do, whether you like her or not, what you won't do is make it seem like she don't deserve it and she didn't work to earn this. Because she been out in these comedy streets for years. 15 years just auditioning and getting television and film roles. 20 plus years of stand-up comedy. So what y'all won't do is act like she don't deserve everything that she's getting. Because whether or not you like her, that has nothing to do with whether or not she's getting paid to do something. You don't like your boss? You think you're funnier than your boss? Better than your boss? But your boss getting paid more than you? Take it up with them. Everybody at work got somebody that gets paid more than them that you think you can do a better job at. So guess what? Keep that same energy when it's your time. Keep that same energy. It drives me crazy, man. Drives me crazy. Why we can't just have a couple people on and be happy for all of them? It's this mentality that, I saw this tweet and I think it's so true. People want you to achieve the amount of success that they think you deserve. The moment you surpass that, too much. The moment you surpass what people think you deserve, that's too much. Cardi B, Nicki Minaj. Y'all fighting in front of these white people, these good white people. Y'all fighting in front of them. Tom Ford released a Cardi B product. I don't remember what it was. Lipstick or something, whatever it was. Sold out. How am I contradicting everything I'm saying right now? Am I contradicting everything I'm saying? I don't think so. It just bothers me to no end. I just hope I never become that guy. Because there's people who I don't think are as funny as I am, who are having massive success. And I can cheer them on because they found people who like what they do. Okay, ventriloquism isn't my thing, but Jeff Dunham is a stand-up comedian who's a ventriloquist, and he had $100 million contract with the MGM Grand Mirage Casino, 7-year, $100 million plus contract to stand up there with dolls and throw his voice at them, through them, or whatever. $100 million. Who are me to judge? Who are me to judge? There's Instagram comedians who do the same bit over and over and over and have a fan base for it and sell their products. And who are me to judge? You could argue that I do the same thing, just with different videos. Then I'm preparing for my time for people to be like, he ain't even that funny. He was funnier when his first specials. Say all that. By the time you've reached the success that a large group of people don't like you and think you're overexposed, chances are you have more money in your account than you've ever had, than most people could ever dream of. And by that point, you're usually set for life. Barring some economic collapse or addiction to drugs or child support,